One waiting. That's me.
Yeah.
I see you.
I see you too. Well, this thing says something like, ain't nobody here except me and the lane.
Don't forget to change your time.
Right? A lot of y'all might be thinking it's 4:30 and not 5:30. Or I done took enough of you off you don't want to be here. Well, Joe, fix it for you. Well, howdy.
Hey, Joe. I saw Joe has a Facebook page now.
Yep.
How are you and Ginger and the family doing?
There's Melinda Dobson.
Hey, Melinda.
Go a couple of minutes and see who all comes dragging in.
Yeah, I can tell you, I don't like this time change stuff.
Now,
Hey, there's Troy. Troy,
Troy, my boy. Howdy.
oh, there you go. I could go back to sleep. I could.
Thank you, Joe. We got to see about getting to the repair shop, having a look at the car. It's doing a little funky thing. You get close to or into passing gear, and it does a chug and throws a traction control sensor. And there's been one time it did it bad enough it threw that sensor and multiple cylinder misfire, thinking it's either the traction control sensor. And that may be all it is, causing all the rest of it. But I'm going to talk to a boy up there about it, and see what he says, and let him check it out. and I've done looked at some parts. I looked at the traction control sensor, and it uh, I need to look to find where it's at on the car and look at it that way when I go see about getting that part. Uh, if it looks the same, put that in, see if that helps. Find out where the transmission sensor is on the thing. Go see about getting that on that O'Reilly's. Those two would cost less than $100.
Okay.
And it could also be the coil pack going bad. I don't know. Those two sensors don't work, we'll probably see about replacing the coil pack.
Done that before.
Yeah. I wouldn't be replacing the plug, so it won't be as hard. I just unplug one and plug in the other and snap them on top of the plugs. So,
Dale, hello.
damn! Howdy! So anyway, gonna be looking into that. See if it resolves those problems. If it don't, runs into something that's gonna cost way too much to fix, we might have to consider something else. Don't want to, but gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I've seen those little Hyundai. Is it a Kia or a Hyundai Santa Fe?
Might be a Hyundai Santa Fe because Kia don't make Santa Fe.
Okay, Hyundai Santa Fe. I've seen those. I think they're kind of neat. It's the same type of vehicle as other vehicles out there like it. But something about it, they made it look right. For me, anyway. Hopefully we can get the problems resolved, but if not, I wouldn't mind having one of them Santa Fe's. Problem would be, could we get one? Would we be able to budget it? That'd be the only problem. Wouldn't care if it was a used one as long as it's in decent shape. When it starts getting warm, I need to finish those brakes on the van. Right? Well, the thing is, hopefully we can figure out what the problems are with the car. Get that resolved, and we don't have to go that route. But if we go that route, I wouldn't mind having a Santa Fe, but we'll probably go through Easy Auto again and Lane find her something she likes there. That would, you know, how we did with this one. Sight unseen except for a picture on the screen. She did good on getting this one.
I learned from my granddad. He bought one of my cars sight unseen. It's probably one of the best cars I ever had. Until it wasn't.
They've talked about it, Melinda, but hadn't heard much on it recently. It would be nice if they just left it alone. But yeah, when we had to go looking for a car, she pulled up Easy Auto, went to looking around, and she saw that thing on the screen. That's the one she liked. They brought it out to us in the portable office, and in another car, and we did it up.
Yeah, let's hope no more time changes. Ooh,
Right,
I do not like them at all.
right. Well, folks, the other day, I mentioned I may talk about it more. Scotty,
Hey, Scotty.
uh, on my live tonight. That's the blame game. I know how it works, and they spoke blaming stuff on Trump that Trump didn't do, and they stuff blame game, laying blame where it don't belong. So I grew up pretty much the king's whipping boy. Older sibling would do something, I got the punishment because he'd blame me. I try to tell the truth of it, I get called a liar and get whipped harder. Beverly Muppet!
Hey, Beverly.
And, you know, I know how that works. Well, political forces on one side have done stuff. If it was bad, they blame Trump. There are other things that happen throughout the nation as a trickle-down effect. Well, Trump gets blamed for it. But who's really to blame? You have a bunch of communists come in and they get filtered out into our power structure. And between the schools and them, they push certain agendas and make it okay to blur the lines between what words mean and what they don't mean. You raise up a whole generation or two underneath that kind of confusion, well, naturally you're going to get folks that are confused. So when somebody comes along and states the facts of reality, who gets blamed for bad things? The ones who made an atmosphere of confusion, or the one who stated the facts of life? The one who stated the facts of life. Because people, younger generations have been taught, oh, well, it could be this or that. Some people can't figure out what. So they blame the one with the truth. If you foster and encourage falsehoods, things that aren't true, you may know better, but you won't hurt nobody's feelings. So you foster the lie to save feelings. You're going to run into problems. I was growing up, big thing was the big insult when I was growing up. You're gay. What you're doing is gay. What you're wearing is gay. This is gay. That is gay. Had I known then some things I know now, I just looked at them and said, what, you jealous and wanting some? But I didn't know that then. I didn't get taught a lot of things that parents taught their children. Older sibling got taught those things. I didn't. There's reasons for it, but I got hamstrung early in life. It caused a lot of problems for me. It made me question myself. It's kind of blowing fuses in my mind because I'm like, how in the world can I be that? I like girls. There was no question. But there would still be a question. That Satan kind of played, trying to use those people to cause me to take a different path. But I thought that's part of the depression I dealt with. Just part of it. You know, kids are going to be mean, and they're always going to pick on an easy target. Tina! I was the easy target. Older sibling and their friends would all the time do the you're gay thing or put me up doing something. I wind up getting hurt, and then they'd all laugh at me. I'll admit, I was naive and gullible and stupid. I didn't know any better. I didn't know how to stick up for myself.
Hey, Arlene.
Arlene! Because I didn't get taught that. My daddy, before they split and he went a different direction and everything, of course, my daddy, he was an alcoholic when I was growing up. He taught me how to set the points on the car, and then he taught me something else I ain't going to talk about. Let's just say he kept a stash of something down in the basement to look at. Things of that nature is what he taught me. He one time told me a joke. I was somewhere early mid-teens. Now, this is going to be a little graphic, folks, so brace yourselves. He told me, what's the difference between white putty and black putty? I looked at him. There ain't no thing on the inside. That's what I got taught. Things of that nature. Daddy couldn't help himself. He was an alcoholic. You don't get over being an alcoholic. He did get away from the alcohol later in life and straightened up. But when he was growing up, alcohol is usually the only thing in the fridge. He didn't grow up under too good of circumstances. I'll just say that. And so you never know who's going to be an alcoholic. And so that young age, and you hungry, you want to put something in that belly. And there you go. So who's to blame there? Him for drinking it? Or somebody else? Well, it's twofold. He had a choice. But hunger's the main thing. And pretty much, Melinda. Pretty much. And yeah, so who's to blame? Him for being hungry, wanted to put something in there. Or parents, probably mostly his father and then a stepfather. I don't know if he had a stepfather. Yeah, he had a stepfather. And they're mean and abusive and they're drunks. So who's to blame for my daddy have becoming that way? Well, it's twofold. You have a choice, but also father figures that are drunks and abusive. Or you have somebody else come along and try to tell him that he's an alcoholic. They'll say, no, I ain't, and they'll double down on the drinking. You cannot tell an alcoholic they're an alcoholic. They have to come to that realization on their own. So when they do get worse about it, who's to blame? The person that presented them with the truth or themselves? A lot of people make decisions in life based on the information they have at hand. If the information given to them is bad, who's really to blame for their bad results? Themselves? Or the one who gave them the bad information? True, Tina. True. God, that is so very true. So who's really to blame? The atmosphere which they came up in and then being given bad information. Working on an engine one time, I got chewed out because I chipped a little bit of the top of the block, scraping gasket off the top of the block. And dude working for the main mechanic told me, oh, you hold the chisel this way. I did that. There went a chunk. Main one who's going to be helping me out with it chewed me out for it.
Hey, Johnny.
Well, yeah, I actually did the act, but I did it off the information I was given by his understudy. So who's really to blame for that? Yeah, it's my fault. I did the actual physical part of it, but I did it based off the information given me by somebody who was supposed to have known what they was talking about. I told him, dude told me to do it like this. I still got the blame. This bad hurricane started because some gnat over there in China farted. Started a chain reaction of wind build up. Wound up in that hurricane. May as well blame me. I somehow made that gnat fart.
He squished it hard.
You know, I got used to taking the blame for everything. Somebody say, we need to talk. And I'll be like, oh, God, what now? Might be something totally innocent and something good. But I'd always have that sense of dread because usually somebody says that there's something bad going on and they're going to blame me. I never learned how to take a joke until I was in the Marines. And that's when I started learning how to have a sense of humor. There's some reasons for that too. Sammy!
Hey, Stampy. Did you miss Johnny coming in?
Johnny.
Johnny Gill?
Johnny! And, yeah, so that caused me a lot of problems. But who was really to blame? I take advice from somebody and I get bad results. I was given bad advice. But who's getting the blame? I am, because I did the actual physical thing of whatever it was. People don't want to take into account having been given bad advice or bad information. Folks out there listen to the mainstream media, all they're getting is bad information. Because they ain't telling you the whole story, and they're twisting up what story they do give you. And when folks listen to nothing but the mainstream media, they only get that part of the information. So when the T-Man makes a statement of fact, showing how the Democrat Party up there has been doing all these different things. No, that ain't it. Yeah, it is. That's the truth of it. But those who only listen to mainstream media ain't going to believe that. Because when you hit people with truth that have been used to lies and living their lives according to those lies, they ain't going to want to believe the truth. Because it goes against what they've been taught. What's worse is they won't say, hold up, that's different. Let me look into it. They won't look into it and put it together and start connecting the dots. That means they have to think. They look at that boob tube, and whatever they're telling them on that boob tube, they take as the gospel and run with it. Why? Because they don't have to think that way. That way they don't have to use their brain to actually think. They just run off of their emotions, which is what the communist type likes to do as part of one of their tactics. They get into your emotions. Your emotions get involved, the logic centers of your brain quit working. Oh, Lord, Johnny, they do. They do. They've also got EDS. And the Democrat Party up there trying to play into people's fields. Oh, they're going to be taking away this and that from all these needy that need this and that. No, they're just taking dead people off the rolls. So they ain't have to pay that no more. Because there's somebody getting that money.
I still want to know who that 360-year-old person on Social Security was.
You know, because those checks are getting cashed and somebody's getting that money. Where they talk, all that money is going back into the Democrat Party. That's one of the ways they're getting all their money to be able to run their campaigns. 30!
Hi, Tish.
You know, so when the blame game is being used, people don't want to think, don't want to use the logical centers of their brain because they're running purely off emotion. It's all right to have feelings. Make sure they're for the right reason. make sure they're justifiable. You know, people getting upset because we want to cut foreign aid. Well, you know, I say help the poor, homeless, and hungry here first before you help anybody else. Foreign aid, when your own nation is in trouble, is like having a family and you feed the family down the street while you watch your own family starve.
Charity starts at home.
That's it. But these folks that's okay with that ideology. But when it starts having problems with people all over the nation and bad things start happening because a truth was spoken, they won't blame the one who spoke that truth. But you know, it's biblical. Romans chapter 1, in the end, you know, they wouldn't want to hear the truth because they don't want to retain the truth in their memory. They don't want to retain the truth in their mind. Why? Because they'd have to think and they'd have to straighten up. Alvin!
Hey, Alvin. Guess what I did today, Alvin? Oh, man.
Oh, man.
I baked some cookies, Alvin.
Lots of them.
There's somewhere between 4 and 6 dozen. I lost count.
She had me put them in the freezer until she could get to them. Maybe you noticed they in the bottom of that one.
Okay.
Right. That have something to do with that Stacey Abrams. You know, there was another $20 billion earmarked to go to them on top of that too. Was. Elon put a stop to that. Yep. They need to send her to your farm, Johnny, and make her work some of that off.
Oh, Lord, I wouldn't do that to Johnny. I would. I would do that to Danny Boy.
I am not even going to speak what I thought on that. And you're right. I definitely would not do that to Danny Boy.
Lord have mercy. Bad enough, we have to put up with her here in Georgia.
Right. Well, happens she's got that vacuum sealer, and we got some styrofoam that we can line and box good with, so as to kind of make it strong.
Yeah.
So that maybe they'll do just that. Yeah, draining that swamp. they got a long road ahead of them with that too.
Yeah, and that's why I've got them in the freezer. They're easier to vacuum seal when they're frozen. and they don't break.
And because this swamp thing has been in there since before I was born. So there's a lot of digging got to be done. They just getting started.
Talking about Nancy Pelosi like that. I agree, but she is the swamp thing. But
Yeah, I love that little AI meme they did on her that you showed me.
um,
So, you know, and they've been working those communist tactics to weaken the minds of people, blur the lines of things so it can cause confusion. When you've got weaker minds and confusion going on, it's easier to do the BS they've been doing.
Amen. That's the truth right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he
If
definitely would.
not 3 or 4, Johnny.
Yeah.
That man knows how to run business. Bottom line. You know, and that's what really kills me. Is people are okay with the Democrats saying Elon don't need to be doing that. Well, the president can appoint anybody he wants. And what kills me is they're not upset about the corruption and fraud that's being found. They're upset about who's doing it.
Yeah. They're upset about Elon doing the job instead of what he's finding. Yeah.
Yeah, you got folks out there putting videos out saying, well, that's false. It was only this much, or it was only that much. Trying to debunk Elon's work. Now, you got somebody out there making a video that's not actually there having anything to do with it, trying to debunk what Elon has found. And saying, oh, it's not that much. And one thing is that wasn't done under Trump and Elon. That was done under Biden. Some cessation of some contract. Oh, that was done under Biden, not Trump and Elon, folks. But they're trying to put that disinformation and misinformation out there to try to keep stirring that pot of Democrats who are going off their feelings to stop it. Like Elon said, well, no, better one, Senator Kennedy. Well, he says, when you go to cut the fat, pigs squeal.
Yeah, they do.
You know, and the fattest pigs are going to squeal the worst. Look at all them pigs up there squealing about Elon finding that fraud and getting it cut out. Everyone I've seen so far has been seeing Trump do it himself. Unless you're talking about Biden.
Yeah, that's Biden auto pen. Yeah. Well, Johnny, what I heard was that there's only two things that Biden signed himself. That was what he signed when the very first day he went into office, and the when he signed stepping out of the race to run for president. Those are the only things he signed himself, and everything else was signed by auto pen.
Eh, I'd be willing to bet it wasn't an auto pen. I'm willing to bet that auto pen was Dr. Jill.
Well, that's what they're thinking. It was either Jill or some other staffer that did it.
Well, Jill's been with him how long?
Yeah.
How many husbands don't actually sign their names, but their wives do? How good at being able to sign his name do you think she's gotten over the decades? But it wasn't Joe up there running things.
Well, what is her name? Lindy Lee. I mean, I don't trust the girl. Don't get me wrong, because she used to be big up in the Democrat Party. She knew all the stuff going on. She said when it came to Biden, Jill was president behind the scenes, as was Hunter. Said that any decisions made by Joe Biden during his presidency was made by Jill and Hunter.
Yeah. And Barack.
Well, this Lindy Lee woman was the one that's coming out with all the dirt on the Democrats.
Yeah, but she also named Obama.
Well, what I watched, just because they asked her who was the
Jill and Hunter are the main two, but
yeah,
Obama was pulling the strings of what's what.
Yeah. That's it right there. Whoever controlled the auto pen controlled the presidency.
That's it. So anyway you slice it, the Biden presidency was an illegitimate presidency.
Well, Johnny said there's.
I say that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Just so y'all know,
I signed his.
She signs mine. If I sign something, the fraud department at the bank would stop it and say, "Hey, you know anything about this?"
Nah, when he signs it, it goes through. Don't think it lies.
But they also know that Elaine takes care of my business for me, so.
Yeah. The thing about it is he won't sign my name. But I'll sign his. I got paper saying I own that. So.
Well, it's like this. I don't write good to begin with. Now with the nerve damage, I do good to sign my name when I do sign my name. It don't look as good as it used to, and it didn't look great then. But when you're sitting there and you got a finger that'll go like that trying to do it, or I'll be playing my game right here. I got to press down on one thing and my finger will do this. I'll be going down this way and then it'll go beep. Right as soon as I go to touch it, I'll touch the wrong thing and get a bad result.
Yeah.
I did it, but my nerves said something else. I said, let's do this instead. But that like I said, that's what really gets me, folks, is why they care who's finding the fraud and corruption and be mad at them doing it instead of being mad at all the fraud and corruption that's being found. That, if I go to a accounting firm, and say they're so-and-so accounting firm, but I don't get so-and-so, I get somebody that works for them. Well, they wouldn't be working for them if they didn't know what the heck they were doing. And folks, they ain't nobody better at knowing what they're doing than Elon. Right. I don't think they accept that anymore.
They might, but
Right. Well, the ones with their hand in the till are upset because it's being found.
hey, Aaron.
Aaron! Those with their hands in the till are squealing bad. Those little piggies are getting their fat cut. But it's mind blowing that people will be mad at the one finding the fraud and corruption and not be mad at the fraud and corruption. It just blows my mind. And those are the same people they're going to blame Trump for bad things that happen because he spoke the truth. No, you should be blaming those that made an atmosphere of falsehoods that everybody believed and believed, creating a state of confusion, not the one who spoke the truth. It's totally biblical end time stuff, I'm going to tell you. Ugh. Anyway, it's supposed to be that mechanic supposed to call me sometime, talk to me about my situation with the car, and yeah, political pockets, terrorist groups, Sesame Street for Muslims in some country over there. I mean, what kind of Sesame Street they gonna get? I mean, shrimps on treadmills and transgender studies on mice and on dogs. Like, really? Listening to one the other day talking about uh, so much money going to the Department of Education, but only so much of it was actually going to education. The other 220 billion of it was going to the admins and other stuff.
It was like 65 billion or 65 billion, whatever it was. It was 65. The number was 65. I remember
It was
that.
only a small portion of the total being given to them to run Department of Education.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder parents been having to buy the school supplies for their kids for all these years. Department of Education hasn't been using the money they've been given to supply what they're supposed to be supplying. If they'd been using that money right, they could be having all sorts of nice computers and stuff in there and everything they need. No. Yeah, but you can't get the Democrat Party has gotten the Democrats believing that that's not true. That it's all a lie. I'll try not to, Dale. I'll try not to. But anyway, like I said, who's really to blame? Yeah. Ultimately, most of it winds up back in the DNC. Much of it does. I'd seen another one. Uh, I think it was Ukraine had put out a list of folks who were getting kickbacks from the money that was being sent to Ukraine. Mitch McConnell was on there.
Big grandchild.
Adam Schiff, Pelosi, several others.
Chuck Schumer.
Schumer. So no wonder they don't want the war over there to stop. They're making millions off of it. And that came from Ukraine. Ukraine busting them out. I'm pretty sure Zelensky didn't have anything to do with that because he stands to lose on that one too. There had to be somebody in there who wanted us to know the truth because they don't like Zelensky either. He's a little would-be comedic actor. He's obviously not any good. That got picked by the deep state, global deep state, to be the ruler of Ukraine and be a little dictator. So he's having to do what whoever's telling him to do. And 10-1, you finally get down to the bottom of it, China is behind that. Who has the most to gain? China. It's not hard to figure out. You know, like I talked the other day, China has gotten rich off of us through unfair trade practices, gotten billions and billions and hundreds of billions of dollars because of unfair trade practices. Well, we borrow money from China, and then they not only get that back plus interest off our own money. Yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff with that too because there has been things coming out that alludes to the fact that even the prime minister is on the Epstein list and involved in all that. That Epstein was actually a sort of Israeli spy Mossad type deal. And that he was set up in that. Anyway, some of the stuff I've heard said is alludes to the prime minister being involved. And that was who was allowed to come in and unalive Epstein. But they're also speculating that he may still be alive, he's just not here anymore.
Hi, Ginger.
Ginger! Cool beans. Lane says she's going to fix something after my live. Thinking about going ahead and dipping out so that she can do that and I can be ready for Dale. You are going live tonight, ain't you, Dale? But again, who's really to blame? You got to get out of your emotions and your feels and actually think and research, start putting two and two together before you can actually move forward. I'm a bear.
Hey, Christine.
You're here and I'm getting ready to leave. There's replay if you want to. But yeah, you got to get out of your emotions and actually think with your brain, with logic, reason, rationale, in order to start putting stuff together. If you're just going off of what the talking heads on the mainstream, you're never going to put it together. It's kind of like people going to church. They just listen to the pastor instead of following along and reading in their own Bibles. Make sure he's preaching the truth. You know, they got one over here in Georgia somewhere. He going to hell because what he preaches is not gospel. I saw another one. They had a transgender preacher saying that God is gay, God is transgender, God is this, God is that. He didn't mention also straight, but he's like, dude, I'd hate to be walking anywhere near you saying that kind of
Hey, Derek.
trash about God. No. I'd be afraid there'd be some sulfur and brimstone come down on you. I wouldn't want to get caught in the blast. I'm just kind of like, hey, we got a choice. We can choose God or we can choose the world. If you choose the world, fine, that's your thing. That's what you want to do. Have at it, be happy. But when you think you can do all these other things that are against God, yet still get the benefits and rewards of being a child of God, sorry, not sorry, you're wrong. Because you can't do things that the Bible says is against God, that God calls an abomination, and reap heaven as your home. I mean, that's just the bottom line of it. I still love you for who you are. I don't have to accept what you do, but I can still love you. But if you think that you can live in an abomination and still reap the rewards of heaven, you're going to be one of those that's going to be standing there and hear the Lord say, "Get, I never knew you." A lot of funky stuff going on with that mama bear. Ghislaine Maxwell, her daddy, the big part of Mossad. And they're speculating now that Epstein was basically taking orders from Maxwell and not the other way around. And Mossad is involved in that, and possibly the prime minister. Don't know yet. Cool, Derek. I'll be looking for it.
He said at Falcon at the homestead they'd be getting one. Why are you looking for it?
Well, I might see a video.
I thought you was gonna go raid Ginger's mailbox.
I'm too lazy to do that.
Hey, don't get me wrong, I am too. I don't even raid my own mailbox. That's Piggy's job.
Yep. And it almost takes an act of Congress to get me out there. I'm just gonna tell you.
We got that informed delivery thing. I don't know how many of y'all use it through the postal service. I likes it.
When it works right.
When it works right, it works great.
So anyway, think about it. Piggy Dushy.